Hello and welcome to the Craftsman Show. My name is your host, the Craftsman. In today's video, I'm going to talk to y'all about sculpting, making a figure from scratch. Y'all have seen some of my previously toy things that I have made, and some of y'all have asked, how did you make those? So I thought I would show y'all how I sculpt a figure from scratch. Before we can begin with that, we got to know what we're making. Did I tell y'all that we have chickens? We have chickens. And that's one of the first places that I immediately got inspiration for this next action figure. I like to start with a basic shape. For me, I'm thinking about how that we can make a mold out of this. So I try not to get too complicated. I try to go with smooth pieces. This is my favorite style right here. I'm just so drawn to this style of figure, of character, because of the simplicity, the smoothness. They still got that distinguishable feature, but it's all together smooth and simple. I like it. Playmobil. And I figured the little hand, the little wings / the arms would be kind of against the body, and it would make for a smooth, kind of like I had did with my this figure right here, Aqua, the amphibious creature. But then I need to have something more than just a chicken. So then I thought about, well, let's put like a spacesuit. Put some little a little badge, a little something. I realized if I go this route, that I'm gonna have to probably cast these little chicken legs out of a different type of material. Anyway, I went through several of these. This is some of the first ones that I did. I was happy with this little basic figure right here. And then I went through this shape right here. I started thinking about doing some little curvatures at the bottom, things like that. And then I started doing drawing the eyes like this. I felt like the little eyeball made out of a little dot would be simple. But I like the way that you can get more expressive with the eyeball like that. And I like the little control panel like that. That'll give me a chance to do some details. And then I started looking at rocket backs. I started thinking I was getting a little bit out of hand doing these straps. And then I said, I could just make it a suit instead of straps. Like the chicken wearing like a rocket suit. I like rivets. After probably about 200 different sketches, I decided on the free-range chicken. And that made sense to me. I'm going to be starting out with just a couple ingredients. Fixit Sculpt and aluminum foil. Fixit Sculpt is a 2-part epoxy clay type of deal that it's made by a company called Aves. I like this as a sculpting medium because it's strong, and for me, most importantly, it's very easy to sand it, smooth it to whatever surface that you want. Now the aluminum foil is what you're going to use to build what they call an armature, and that's going to be kind of like a skeleton, think of it. It's going to be what you build your model around. I like it because it also helps me to save on my clay. A couple other things that I like to use is a surface on top of my workbench, and this is a cutting board type of plastic. You're also going to want to keep you some little bit of water on hand to dip your fingertips in, and that's going to help keep the epoxy clay smooth as you work at it, so it won't be so tacky, sticky onto your fingers. And then wear you some gloves. As you can see, I'm wearing some gloves today. Craftsman, you always wear gloves. I know it. To begin with, I'm going to shape my armature into the basic shape. Alright, I know it looks pretty crude so far, but I think it's on all-day shape. I think I'm going to give it a little bit of a bend, because I know if I put that rocket back, I'm going to want it to be balanced. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Put a little bend over in the back a little bit. time you get ready to mix your epoxy, what I like to do is use one hand for one side, use the other hand for the other side. Now this is the part where you're going to get your hand workout. You want to take the A side and the B side and mix it, squish it, squish it, squish it, twist it, mix it until it's all as uniform a color as possible. As you can see, epoxy clay is very sticky. What I like to do is when I'm done mixing it, I like to just let it sit for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You got you at least a few hours. The directions say 3 to 4 hours. Personally, I would try to be where you need to be in about 2 hours, done with your sculpting. Alright, this is the fun part right here. I like to take me just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and start smoothing it on it. I usually, when I get to this point, I start to look at it and think that I don't like the shape or that it's not going exactly how that I want it to go. This is normally when you have to push through and keep on going with it. I usually start thinking about how I'm ready to be on to the next part, the details, and you know, painting and doing all this other kind of thing. But it's the part you got to get through to get to that other part. I think of it as you just chasing it around, chasing it this way, chasing it down over here. Get that out of there, looking at it. It's starting to take shape. It's kind of globulated. And you're probably thinking, craftsman, what in the world are you trying to do with this? But trust me, it's going to eventually get there. And when you're working on your sculpture, and I hope that you do take time to make your own little sculpture, little creature, little whatever it might be, that you just push through it, keep with it. And this may not even turn out. I may have to do a whole nother one. You know, I may have to scrap it and try it again, but that's all right. We just hang with it, see where it goes, and don't give up on it. I'm going to take the basic figure shape that I have made and lean it against something. I prefer to do approach where I build it up a little bit at a time. I'm not the very best at sculpting, so I like to do a large piece of it and then build onto it. Y'all might could probably do it all in one time, but this is the way I have to do it. Now I got a piece of 180 grit sandpaper. If you were going to keep dry sanding like that, I would suggest to wear a max. You can also dip your sandpaper, if it's a wet or dry paper, dip it in water and then sand it that way. And that way you don't have to worry about dust, little bits and pieces floating around, breathing, all that. Now it's time to make some little bits and pieces. I like to pop the eyes in every once in a while, see how it look. Make sure it's kind of looking like my, a little bit like my sketch. I'm gonna use me a little silicone too. What I'm trying to do is make sure it is smooth against the surface. Since I plan on doing molds of this character, I need to make sure that it's going to be conducive to mold making. So I don't like to have a lot of undercut pieces like this that goes back in. I like to have it kind of smooth against the body like this. I think of it like I'm welding the beak onto the head. Just kind of carefully, gently going around. Wetting my brush every once in a while. I like to have me a nice and good, smooth, stable foundation, and I like to build these pieces onto it. If I was working with a big glob of clay right here, and then this was mushy, and everything else is mushy, it would just be a mess for me, at least to deal with. Y'all might have probably already been done with all this, but me, I like to do it just a little building blocks at a time. I wanted to show you also that you can take a brush and go around like this with the wet brush. But we're going to move on to the rest of the parts. I'm getting ready to try to make the comb and the wattle. The wattle, the little thing that hangs down right under the beak, and then the comb goes over the top. And then just like we did with the beak, we're going to set the comb right down into place on his head. And just enjoy it. To me, it's relaxing doing this. As I'm working on this back here, I got to be careful not to squish and mush the beak. I have done that before. I'll be over here concentrating, focusing, doing something here, and I come back and this is all looking like whoop-de-doo. I always thought that was a funny name. The comb kind of makes sense, but the wattle. I wonder who came up with that. Saw a chicken and said, what we gonna call this little piece hanging down right here? The other man said, that's a wattle. One thing I like to do with my characters is to do some asymmetry. That means where things don't be lining up. So you know that the eyes are a little bigger and small, and then the beak lean a little bit over this way, and I make the wattle go the other way. It's just kind of ways that you can kind of make it asymmetrical, but then at the same time kind of balance it out too. This is how come I like to work with a soft feature on a hard surface, because I can kind of go in and cut it and then scrape away, and I don't worry about damaging the existing smooth surface. This is what we're looking like so far. And then let's do a little eyeball test. That's how we're looking so far. Oh, hello. Lost the eyeball flow. This little piece right here, normally you would just roll up what they call a worm. You just get it, roll it out. And but I want it real nice and uniform. So I figured I might as well go ahead and just extrude it like this. But I don't want it to be just round. I'm gonna take and add it to this piece. And then get kind of a look at, see, I got a little flat part on the back of it. And then what I'm gonna do is let that sit for a little while before I go try to put it on. And I cut the back of it. So basically I'm making a neckline. I made me a little tool, custom sculpting tool, and I wanted to have some little detail, kind of like a suit, futuristic sci-fi suit. Indenting, pressing, going all the way around. Took my time and tried to smooth out the bottom, blend it into the suit to make it look like a neckline. And then I just didn't like it. So I smoothed it all back out. But sometimes you do things like that and your mind will change on things. That's about where we got to so far. It's coming along. It's got a lot more smoothing and finishing out to be done. Some more sanding. But I'm about to go in and get some dinner and let this dry overnight and check back in on the morning time. As you can see, we got some little areas that's going to have to be sanded and smooth. Right over here, these little areas. I'm going to get that. And I'm going to start out with some 180 grit. Alternately, another thing that you can use instead of sandpaper is you can get hold of some sanding pads. Watch out, like I got some atomic fireball. I also got some lemon heads right here. Let's get some of these while we waiting. Oh snap. They done kind of melted together, but that's all right. We're gonna still enjoy that. Oh, they gonna stick it to my glove now. I'm gonna set the chicken aside for a little while and start working on this rocket pack. I wanted to take something that I have existed and then maybe build onto it. Look through my old hardware, different little bits and pieces. We just having fun. I hope y'all having fun with me. I don't always stick to the plan a lot of times, so we're gonna just go for something similar to this, but I might let the inspiration of what I find take me in a different direction. Look at this mess right here. And anytime I'm doing a little control panel, chest piece type of deal, what I like to do is model that completely separate. I remember they had a little bag of grommets like this, and as you can see, it gives it a good detail. But one thing I will say, some types of rubber do not react good to the silicone mold if you decide to make a mold out of your figure or whatever you're making. So you will have to coat that rubber. I'll show you that later. I took these little parts right here and I drilled a little bit into it and I'm just gonna take a BB, and if y'all got a BB gun or something like that, and I'm just gonna go in and stick them in. 1, 2, 3. I thought that might be good, attached somewhere right in there. I've been starting thinking about doing these eyeballs, and a chicken, maybe they don't have a whole lot going on up in their brain. Like maybe this chicken not quite got it figured out. We want that to squeeze out the edges because we won't want no cracks around the eye socket. Now we're just going around, easing. It's kind of like we dragging that eyelid around. Just kind of caressing. Being SafetySolv it. To me, it helps to helps melt it right into place. As you can see, my workstation done got a little messy, but that's all right. It's all part of the process. We're just going around sanding any little areas where I might have got some clay, little edges, little corners and things like that. Try to get as much of this out the little crevices and creases as we can. It's not 100% smooth, but I guess my excuse is I like for things to have a little bit of still a little bit of a handmade touch to it, and it ain't like a if you could 3D print it, it would probably look a lot more precise. The lines would be very smooth and accurate, but it's going to definitely have some organic to it, and that'll show through in all of the resin copy just made. So what I had did, I went out there and put the primer coat on this thing and brought it back inside and realized I ain't even put the connection piece, the little stem. So I took me some 2-part mold putty. I know I showed y'all that in a different video. All I needed was just a copy of the end piece of that. I'm gonna try to see, can I extrude me some silicone rubber. Now we got us a little hose that can connect between the control panel and the rocket pack. Now I'm not gonna actually connect the hose in this one. I got a little spot where I'm going to drill that out. Whenever I do my copies, when I do a copy in resin of this, drill me a good clean hole and then connect the hose and then run it around to the back. And I drill me a hole right there in my resin copy of the rocket pack. And then it connect to the control panel on the front. And that way the chicken, she just said, she just push a button, so I'm out of here with my rocket pack. I wanted to show y'all how that you can take a sketch and make your dreams come to a reality, into a 3-dimensional model. And I'm pretty happy with this. Like I said, it's not perfect, and I plan on doing some resin copies of this, and I'll probably put them up on my Etsy shop, etsy.com/aestheticraft, I think it is. And anyway, I'll eventually put a link up in my next video. I want to show y'all how to make a mold of this, and then how that you can make resin copies and make your own figures and go into production with it. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I hope that y'all keep on watching, and thank you for subscribing. And a special thank you to my patrons on patreon.com for supporting me. I'm going to put y'all's name in the credits. And I thank y'all so much. Have a blessed day. And keep steady crafting.